My fiancée's daughter said something that still rings in my ears. Mom's leaving you when my dad gets out of prison. He makes more money anyway. I changed the locks and walked away. Now they want me back, but it's too late. Hey, Reddit, let me explain. I was engaged to Celia, my fiancée. We had been together for nearly 4 years. She had a 13-year-old daughter from a previous relationship, Kay, and for most of Kay's preteen years, I raised her like my own. We met shortly after my divorce. I had moved back to my small hometown to look after my late father's house and ended up managing the local hardware store. Emotionally, I wasn't a great place, but Celia felt like a calm after the storm. Funny, warm, and never in a hurry. What I admired most about her was that she wasn't in a rush for anything. Like me, she seemed to want peace in her life. She told me early on that her ex, Kay's father, let's call him Darnell, was in prison. She said it was for drug-related charges, and that he had a long sentence, at least 8 years. I never pushed her for more details. The way she spoke of him made it clear that chapter was closed. We took things slow. I met Kay a few months in. At first, she was guarded, but we found common ground in small ways. Math homework, old movies, and a mutual love for bizarre snack combinations. Over time, she warmed up to me, eventually calling me Jay for short, even though I never asked her to. One day, she even introduced me at school as her second dad. After a year and a half, Celia and I moved in together, and I proposed shortly after her 35th birthday. I truly thought we had something special, something rare. Then, about 6 months ago, Celia started acting differently. I can't fully explain it unless you've been through it. She started sending texts without offering explanations, laughing at her phone late into the night. She worked longer shifts, yet always seemed to have less money. She stayed up after I went to bed, and in general, just became more distant. I figured it was stress. She was taking online classes, working toward an associate's degree in healthcare administration. I encouraged it, thinking she was just overwhelmed. We were planning a small wedding, and there was a lot on her plate. Then came the moment that shattered everything. One Saturday, I was driving Kay to a birthday party. We were chatting about school and her friends when she said, almost casually, "You know, Mom's leaving you when my dad gets out, right?" I thought I misheard her. I asked her to repeat it. She did. "You're good to us," she said, "but my real dad's getting out soon and he makes more money, so we're moving in with him." I didn't yell. I didn't say a word. I turned the car around and drove straight home. I told Kay she wasn't going to the party. She protested and started crying, but I couldn't ignore what I just heard. As soon as we got inside, I confronted Celia. At first, she denied it, claiming Kay must have misunderstood. But when I said I'd ask Kay about it right then, she fell silent. Then she admitted it. "He's getting out early in August," she said, as if it were no big deal. This was mid-July. She didn't apologize, just said she hadn't figured out how to tell me, that it wasn't personal, that it wasn't about love, but what made sense for her and Kay. I couldn't believe my ears. I didn't shout. I didn't argue. I went to the bedroom, locked the door, and didn't come out until morning. The next day, I changed the locks. When Celia came home from her diner shift that night, her key didn't work. I met her at the door, handed her a duffel bag with her things, and said, "You knew this was coming." She didn't argue. She didn't cry. She just looked at me like I was a stranger. Kay wasn't with her. I thought that was the end of it. But then, about 2 months later, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside was a printed photo of Celia and Darnell, smiling together at a bowling alley. On the back, someone had written, "Should have waited, Jay. She only picked you to fill time." Below that, in different handwriting, it said, "She wanted to tell you the truth. I told her not to." I had no idea how Darnell got my address. Maybe Kay gave it to him. That night, I went through her old junk drawer and found a prepaid phone I never knew about. Sure enough, there were dozens of texts from a number not saved in her regular phone. They had been talking since 2021. He'd been sending her money through mutual friends. He promised to take care of her and Kay when he got out. All she had to do was keep me around until then. I was never the plan. Recently, Celia showed up at my door again. This time, she was alone. She told me things hadn't worked out with Darnell. He was controlling, upset that she continued with her online classes, accused her of being too independent, and kicked her out after she questioned him about spending her money, which he considered his own. She was crying when she said she regretted everything. She told me Kay missed me and asked if we could try again. I refused. I didn't even open the door. I simply told her, "You made your decision." A week later, she came back, this time with Kay, who looked genuinely upset. She said I was the only stable father figure Kay had ever known. But I still said no. Now, mutual friends and Celia's sister have been reaching out, saying I'm being heartless. They tell me Kay hasn't done anything wrong, that I kicked a child out, that it was Celia's mistake, not Kay's. But I feel like they're forgetting something. Kay knew what was happening. She wasn't scared or ashamed. She acted like it was part of a plan. She knew what was coming before I did, but kept it to herself. Maybe she was just a kid. Maybe she was repeating what her mom told her. But I can't go back to living in a house where every smile might be a lie. Every "I love you" just a placeholder. A few days after I posted, Kay showed up at the store where I work. She didn't come with Celia. She had ridden her bike and waited for my lunch break to come in. She asked if we could talk. I'll admit, my stomach dropped. I had no idea what she wanted, and I wasn't sure I wanted to hear it. But I remembered she's just a kid, and I'd been in her life for nearly 4 years. So I agreed. We sat on a bench outside. She had a small paper bag with her. Inside was a keychain I bought her years ago at a fair. It was broken, but she glued it back together and put it on a new ring. She told me I didn't mean what I said. Then she started crying. She told me Celia used to say things late at night when she thought Kay was asleep. How Darnell owed her everything for going to jail. How he promised to fix their life. How she loved me, but only because I was safe, not because she saw a future with me. Kay said that when she told me the truth that day in the car, she thought she was helping me. She thought I should know before the wedding, but she didn't understand how much it would hurt. Then she said something that nearly broke me. "I thought you'd fight for us. I didn't think you'd make us leave." I had to take a breath. A long one. I told her the truth. I fought for her every time I helped with homework. Every time I took care of her when she was sick. Every birthday cake I stayed up to decorate. Every late-night grocery run when her mom forgot something for school. That was me fighting. But I'm not a backup plan. I'm not someone you keep around until something better comes along. I told her I still loved her. That may never change. But I couldn't be her stepdad anymore. Then I handed her the keychain back. I told her to keep it, in case she ever needed to remember that someone loved her without strings attached. She asked if we could stay in touch. I said, maybe someday when things are stable. I walked back into the store. That night, Celia called. She asked what I said to Kay because she came home crying and locked herself in her room. I didn't give her much. I just told her, I listened, something you should have done years ago. She told me I was cruel, that I was punishing both of them, and that if I could walk away like this, I never really loved them. That's when I finally snapped. I said, no, I loved you both so much. I was willing to build a life around it. I ignored red flags. I believe your story about your past. I loved you enough to plan a future, but you loved someone else. And the worst part, you let your daughter believe that using people is normal, that loyalty is optional, that love is just something you drain until something better comes along. She didn't say anything after that. She just hung up. That was 4 days ago. Yesterday, I boxed up the last of Celia's things and dropped them off at her sister's house. The ring went into a drawer. I'm not ready to sell it just yet. I've started reading again. Sometimes I go fishing after work. The silence is still heavy, but I'm getting used to it. Today, I bought a new deadbolt for the door, not because I'm afraid, but because I'm finally ready to make this house mine again. I appreciate everyone who reached out, especially those who reminded me that choosing yourself after betrayal isn't weakness. It's survival.